This is our work session meeting agenda for Monday, April the 14th. And I'm gonna do a roll call before we start. Okay. Mr. Burse.
Present.
Mr. Tindall.
Here.
Mr. Lucas.
Here.
Mr. Cox.
Here.
Cheers here. Okay. Before we get started, I've asked John if he would to lead us in prayer.
Bow our heads. Dear God, I just thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come in and serve you and serve our community. So Lord, I just ask that you would give us the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to make the right decisions as we go through our business today. Lord, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, that died on the cross for our sins. We ask for your blessings continue to pour out on our community. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, before we get started, we got an employee of the month.
We're gonna wait on them if you wanna let Eric, they gotta get here.
Oh, she ain't here yet?
Yeah, and the employees gotta get here.
Okay,
We'll let Eric know.
let's let Miss Erica come up in first. Okay,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon, Erica.
My name is Erica Stenbridge, Library Director of Okeechobee Regional Library System. Thank you for allowing me to be here to speak on behalf of the library. I spoke back in January about the Ware County Public Library renovation project. So I just wanted to give a really brief update on that. We're right on track according to the timeline. The bid opening will be April the 30th at the library, and then the very next day we have a library board meeting on May the 1st. Once an award decision is made and a notice to proceed is issued, we will be ready to start with construction. The project start date is somewhere between mid to late May. So I'd just like to say again, thank you for your support, for all the work Mr. Sasser has completed to keep the project moving. We're really excited to see the updates and to share that with the community.
Okay,
So just a
good.
little brief update.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
anybody got anything on it? Or- Okay, thank you, Erica. All right,
Might wanna let Chris go ahead.
so we just go ahead with Chris in? Okay, all right. Chris, Mr. Chris Kingsbury gonna be with Atlas.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a busy month. Everybody disappeared last week for spring break. I think they drove through South Georgia to get to Florida. And then, of course, all I heard this week, Holy Week, is we're not open Good Friday, are we? So, well, then you can take the deal. But thanks for giving me a few minutes today. Just briefly, and we've got, I think everybody's got the handout. I gave you all a little update of where we're at. So I kind of like the cover photo. Shows the railroad, shows the historical buildings. It's Ware Cross Comprehensive Transportation Plan update, as you all are very familiar. You haven't had one in a couple of years, so this is your chance to get your input to Georgia DOT and the Regional Commission. So real briefly, let's see how this is going to work. Oh, no, hold on. Let's see. Oh, there we go. We've got a lot of good outreach. The IT folks have posted a little survey on the website. We've gotten, for a small county, 40, 50 people have responded. We're going to keep that survey open. The obviously the CTP updates that we're talking about now, the bypass update, we're treating them really as one big project, with bypass being like the last chapter of the CTP. And of course, we'll touch on the next steps briefly. No surprises when you look at the feedback we've gotten from the web survey. 80-something% of the folks that responded said they're concerned about rail and truck congestion. That's what y'all talking about the length of the trains and people getting trapped for hours. Practically speaking, one solution is build more bridges, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then obviously the next highest concern is the congestion and mobility in general, 50%. It's surprising, a lot of people picked up on 158 as being a heavy truck route, even though it's not designed for that narrow 2-lane road. So that's the kind of data Georgia DOT wants to make sure we've examined with public input. And there's a whole host of things the state and Department of Community Affairs, GDOT Community Affairs want you to look at. There are people that have to take a bus to work, the regional transit system. There's a few people that carpool, but no surprise, 9 out of 10 drivers get in their car and go to work either in Ware County or in adjacent county. So the commute profile is what drives some of the decisions we'll make on future projects. And the average time is, it's not as high as I thought it would be, 20 minutes, which is not unusual for a rural area with a lot of traffic. I live 2 miles from my office in Decatur. Sometimes I think it's 20 to 30 minutes on average to go that final 2 miles in an urban setting. The next slide I think is pretty interesting. So the state of Georgia has invested heavily in their computer modeling with real-time traffic data they pick up from cell phones these days, or where most of the real-time data comes, plus their traffic counters, plus satellite data, plus all the major trucking companies and the railroads feed in all their movements to the state models. So this is kind of like what we'd expected to see, the data the state had on file for 2020, all the little red dots, red lines, various shades of red, it's hard to read on a small scale, in and around Waycross. 2050, it's hard to say. It's bad now. What's really happening is you get more darker red lines and a few more roads brought into the congested scenarios in 2050 under the no bill. If we don't do anything, obviously we all know it's going to get a lot worse. So that'll feed into the next, well, not so much the next slide. So that's sort of the big picture on road improvements. The other side of this statewide effort you guys like to see everybody address is, they're obviously concerned about the regional traffic network, but the average citizen doesn't realize the state of Georgia inspects every bridge in the state every year, gives it a rating. Overall, the health report for Ware County is good. 88% of the bridges do not have to be posted for load rating restrictions, but there are 8 structures that are posted. So that's going to be a big part of the budgetary and project selection component of the final CTP, because the chairman and I were talking before the meeting, if a bridge has to be closed in a rural area, the detours are lengthy, sometimes life-saving, and then you have to balance the cost of the bypass bridge, or sometimes try and just reroute the whole road, build a new bridge next to the old bridge, and realign the approaches, which is probably the most common thing we do. But that also raises the cost. So this keeping track of the bridge database and needed improvements will be one of the larger cost components of the final CTP to factor into decisions. That same modeling we spoke about earlier is interesting. We just picked 2. There's about 100 data points in the state database. No surprise, the top travel, 8% of the 9% of the traffic on the eastbound US 84 going east to west is 8 to 9% of the trucks in the region are using that. That's a high number. Metro Atlanta, the peak hour truck traffic on the interstate, hard to believe when you get stuck in traffic, is only about 14%. So it's just what we already do. A lot of trucks go through Waycross in both directions, east and west. And anecdotally, I'm not telling y'all something y'all don't know, is it reflects a regional, I'm going to put a slide here, but I didn't. The majority of what we're getting feedback from the trucking industry is the regulated trucks, the big carriers, are going from the Gulf Coast to the Atlantic Coast. And y'all are just the most convenient way to skip I-10 in Jacksonville and get to 95 faster. So that's drives, and told Mr. Schubert, we'll send you some more higher resolution file that you can print locally to see that bypass map, like a 24 by 36 or a much bigger desktop model. But what it shows is there's absolutely no reason it's imperative y'all build a bypass. Then the question becomes exactly, and I probably should have drawn these lines as more like a corridor as opposed to a specific line. As the chairman and I were talking, the models take into account topography and existing housing and so forth. There's some fine tuning we'll be doing with these. But I think conceptually, a big part, the majority of the needed bypass will be in Ware County, and regionally, it's gonna be in their adjacent counties. And part of what the study does is project what sections you might wanna ask the state to build first. I think it's not gonna be any, our opinion, question that GDOT's gonna say, Waycross needs a bypass. And of course, economic plays into what sections do we build first. And that's where the continued modeling we're doing now. And we come back, I think we're about 2 months away from coming back with the final draft for quote unquote public involvement, presenting our findings. And then we take comments from the board and comments from the public, come up with the final one y'all are comfortable with, let y'all adopt it, and this summer to bring that back up to Georgia DOT for consideration in how they program Waycross and Ware County's needs in the state transportation improvement plan. So with that, I'll answer questions. Oh, I got the slides.
Anybody have any questions for him?
It was a convenient time. I noticed y'all always meet the second Monday. Sometimes you have a little odd schedule, so I was coming down this way anyway to visit our folks in Jessup and see some other projects in the coast. So Linda said, well, we'll put you on the agenda. So I'm here, but we'll be back in a few weeks, probably internally, just for some work
2 weeks.
sessions. And I think
Okay.
y'all got my contact information, so if something comes up, can't think about it right now, give us an email, give us a ring.
Mr. Chairman, I got one question.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Burris.
Pertaining to the bypass, you say, in other words, it's a given, we need a bypass.
There's no
Got it.
question, given the volume of trucks that have to funnel through the existing road network. And that's where I go back to that slide, that shows all the red lines. It's bad now, it's just gonna get worse if you don't build something. And with the biggest, you're always gonna have trucks in town because there are some local deliveries and so forth and so on. But the bulk of that through traffic is going from the Gulf ports to the Atlantic ports. Would take a bypass in a heartbeat.
Okay. Well, that's something we or some commission gonna have to address, I mean, bite the bullet, you know.
Well, something this big is regional, that's why it's so important. Get it done, get it up to GDOT. The regional commission is also involved to coordinate amongst the counties. Because that vote, I think the chairman is coming up for the third renewal, 26. It's getting close. You're gonna vote for the regional T-Splats.
We don't have anywhere to go when the trains all start coming through. We always,
You're not going away.
Nope. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
we know we're gonna have to have some help from DOT and
Oh, dude,
governor, everybody else with a perimeter road.
something this big is
If
just
we're
too
gonna make
important
this
regional.
thing work, it's gonna take a lot. We're gonna have to have Randall County, Pierce County to come in, and they've agreed to.
We've been
Be
talking,
with
the county manager, one of the county managers came to that first public involvement meeting we had, so I think they're on board conceptually.
They're all on board with it.
Haven't passed the hat to them yet, but I think they realize there's a benefit too.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be about 2 months before you get
That's
the
what we're
final,
pushing for, yes,
something that we can look at.
exactly.
Okay.
But we'll be down before then for some internal meetings. And there's extra copies here, if I think Linda might have put them on the table.
But we do have it.
Take it back to the office if people wanna see them, we can. And like I said, we're gonna send you a file that's a higher resolution, you can print a bigger map out
Okay.
and give us some feedback.
All
And
right.
I hate to talk and run, but I'm gonna run up the road to Macon,
Okay.
see one more project. Y'all driven through Macon recently, right? So for better or for worse, we designed all that for GDOT. And it's coming down to the last,
Okay.
next to last phase is getting ready to kick off. So
Okay.
before we started that project, that, the 400 work, when you got to Perimeter Mall, 285, 400, that is now the state's most expensive project. But when we let them make and bid 1675 project, that at the time was the state's largest construction project.
Okay.
So appreciate it.
All right.
Look forward
Thank you.
to being back soon.
Thank
If you have
you.
any questions, go to finance.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the update. Thank you.
Thanks for working on it.
Okay.
Now we're ready for employee of the month.
Okay, now we want the employee of the month. You ready? Teresa, come up, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate y'all moving this up based on the agenda for the day. So our employee of the month is Adam Herron, airport, with the airport, he's a flight line specialist. I'm glad you came up here so we can stare at you as I read this. I'm embarrassed. D Meadows sent in the nomination for him, so I'm just gonna read it as he wrote it because it's exceptional. It's with great pleasure and without reservation that I recommend Adam Herron for the Employee of the Month Award for Ware County. As a flight line specialist with the Waycross Ware County Airport, Adam consistently demonstrates excellence in all aspects of his role and is an invaluable asset to our team and the airport as a whole. Adam performs his duties on the flight line with exceptional skill and dedication. He has proactively completed several courses to enhance his experience, showcasing his commitment to professional growth and ensuring he is always operating at the highest level. His meticulous attention to detail in all his daily activities is evident and contributes significantly to the smooth and safe operation of our flight line. What truly sets Adam apart is his unwavering commitment to customer service and his exceptional rapport with both customers and fellow staff members. He consistently goes above and beyond to ensure that every customer feels welcomed and valued, treating them as if they were family. His warm greetings and sincere thank you for stopping in leave a lasting positive impression. This dedication extends to his colleagues, as Adam is always willing to lend a hand and consistently leads by example, fostering a positive and collaborative work environment. Furthermore, Adam's commitment extends beyond his core responsibilities. He often takes the initiative to do extra for the airport, demonstrating a genuine care and pride in our facility. His proactive approach and willingness to go the extra mile contribute significantly to the overall success and positive image of Waycross Ware County Airport. In conclusion, Adam Herron embodies the qualities of an outstanding employee. His dedication to excellence, exceptional customer service, proactive attitude, and commitment to the airport make him a truly deserving candidate for Employee of the Month. He is a significant asset to Ware County, and I highly recommend him for this recognition. And we thought so too. So let's congratulate Adam for. Everybody wants to keep money. Thank you, Adam. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right now.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Ms. Young.
Okay. Okay, let's go on to the agenda item. The Ware County Employee Group Health Insurance Renewal.
Yours didn't get changed, sorry. We have an emergency ad, and it's on the others for IT purchase request. Sorry, John, I did too.
I don't see it.
What you got?
It's an IT purchase request.
Yours are updated. Yeah,
Okay.
IT purchase request. Is it on yours?
No, I
Yeah,
don't,
it's
I
on
don't
mine.
have.
It's on mine.
It's right
You
here,
just
it's
gotta
emergency
let that-
guide right here at the top. I think they just didn't update your
It's
page.
the IT.
Yeah, cause I looked on both of the pages. you
Mr.
had.
Chairman, we had a late, we had an issue towards the end of last week, I believe. Maybe but it started getting worse. So, that's why we had to add this emergency IT item on here. So we're gonna ask Carlos to, come up and speak on that.
I don't see it. Oh, yeah, here. No, that's employee. Okay, don't worry about it.
Okay, the IT purchase request. Go ahead.
So what we've done is that we have an emergency put on here for the office suite. What has happened is that people have called us and said that some of the products, the solutions in there, they quit working. So we tried to patch it up as well as we can, but there's still other issues with it. So that's the reason why we're requesting this to be purchased and get it in so that we can install the new product on people's computers and they can get back to doing their jobs of creating the agenda items and
Trying
other
to do
word
minutes.
processing, features that need to be completed.
Okay.
What was the cost, Carlos?
So the cost of it is $80,000.
How much?
80,000, yes, and it's for 5 years. So we looked at that, at the cost of the Office suite by itself, on premise, which is 80,000, then we looked at the Microsoft 365 product solution, which is about 35,000 a year. So we looked at, if we go with that, then we have to pay for that indefinitely. So if we go with that product, we have to continuously pay with it, to where if we go with this one, it would save us money in the long run.
But the lifespan, not lifespan, I guess that's a good choice word, but it'd be like 5 years.
Correct. So the lifespan of the product is for 5 years. That's the reason why we're estimating that 80,000 versus if we went with the Office, with the Microsoft 365 product, it would cost probably within that 5-year range around $130,000.
We're 20,000 a year versus 30,000 a year.
You're right.
And that Microsoft Office is something that we all use, and I've used it, that's probably 80% of what I use.
And
And
so,
I've gone down multiple times a day.
so our tax assessors, they use the Excel part of it, and the tax assessors and tax commissioners, the court system, they use the Word part of it to process their docket information. So there's a lot of different offices that use different parts of the product to generate their information that they give out to the public.
Okay.
Let me ask a question, Carlos,
Yeah.
is there anywhere that just kind of like wishful thinking for everybody to be on the same thing?
Well, that would move this right here, so our old product, everybody's on the same product.
Just like with the courthouse and all?
Right, so everybody would be on the same, this 80,000 includes the whole county, it's countywide.
And you say the lifespan, or not the lifespan, but the life warranty on it. The warranty is like 5 years.
Right,
Okay, versus if we went with the, what's the other one?
Microsoft 365,
That's 35,000 a year,
a year, yes, correct.
which would equate to 170 over a 5-year period of time. So
Correct,
that's-
somewhere around the net price range. And then we have to say, okay, we go with it, so this year it might be 30,000, next year it could be 40, it could be 42. We don't know what the price would be, because they're gonna base it on whatever the cost of, because it's a variable cost, so it would be whatever they quote as the price next year for.
So that's pretty much a no-brainer
Right.
on that, you know.
Did we ever stop all those old phone lines that they found that we was
We're-
getting
we're
charged
st-
with? Did we ever solve all of that problem?
We're still working on all that.
It's supposed to save a lot of money, ain't it?
Correct. So we're working, I just got the the second week in May is gonna be the cutover date for the part of the county, and which is on the AT&T service side of it, and then the ones that are on the Nextiva, which is our admin building and the election office, is gonna be cut over at a different date. But we're looking at May, the second week of May to be the cutover date to get the whole county cut over, except for, like I said, the admin building and the election office.
Okay. You remember that, don't you, Leonard?
Yeah.
That about,
Yeah.
we're trying to stop all of that. There's a
Right.
lot of,
There's still phone lines out there that's,
that
you
wasn't
know,
doing anything.
yeah, they're antiquated, you know.
So we're still working on all of that.
Okay.
I still have them wiring the courthouse right now. That's the last, I think, that they have to complete the wiring schema for. I met with them actually last week of getting down the call flow, the call concepts, which numbers still need to be in place for inbound calls and outbound the process calls and everything. So we're still working on those pieces and parts, but they're getting close to coming out and putting the phones on everybody's desk and working in parallel until we get to that cutover date. And then once we cut over, then it's gonna be like I think they told me it's gonna be 2 or 3 days, and then we're gonna cut over the admin building and the election office. So everything will be cut over in May, and then we'll be on the new service provider.
Okay.
And
I
that's-
know that was a good bit of
And
savings.
yeah, the one we have now is AT&T, the one that's got all those old lines.
Well, we have a mix. We have AT&T and Nextiva as our service providers right now.
Okay, I guess my question is to the manager, I guess, the monies for this right here, this, you say it's an emergency, pretty much for this You got to do it within the next couple of months or so?
You gotta do it now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Expires in October.
It'll have to come out of your SPOS, the 22 SPOS or 23.
okay, so we do have that latitude to get the money out of there.
This got software and,
Okay.
improvements in there, I do believe.
So one thing that we're trying to do too is get ahead of the end of life cycle for the product that we have, which is in October of this year. So we want to try to get everybody moved over to the new product so that we're not lacking in having the vulnerability of the old product being installed in people's computer as well, from a cybersecurity standpoint.
Okay.
And this price is also state contract price, if I'm not mistaken.
State did,
State bid.
right?
Okay. Anybody else got any questions on it?
I like what he's doing.
Yeah,
We'll roll it over. Okay.
appreciate what you're doing, Carlos. Keep
All
up
right,
the
thank
good
you,
work.
Carlos. Okay, Ware County Employee Group Health Insurance Renewal. Now, y'all know what that one is. Everybody's done their homework on that one, didn't they?
Basically, he's on.
Good afternoon.
Stay healthy, don't
Come on.
It's John Leggett with MSI Benefits Group.
Yeah.
Here again to talk about the county's group health renewal. I think everyone probably has this presentation in front of them. So I'm here to kind of recap the prior year, refresher what we did for this current year, and then talk about what we're looking to do for the next year. And just as a reminder, the county renews July 1st, so the plan year runs July 1st through June 30th. So if you go to slide 5, there's a lot of numbers on here, but this is the aggregate report for the 23-24 plan year. Kind of, so how did we do? How did our claims run? And if you go down the bottom right, you'll see under expected loss ratio, you'll see 85%. So 85% means we ran 15% better than expected. Had we ran at 100%, we would have ran exactly as the plan was expected to run. So we ran 15% better than expected for the 23-24 plan year, which is about right at $460,000 below the expected total for the year. When I get to the renewal and we talk about that, we're self-funded. We know what our premiums are gonna be, and then for our claims, those are projected. So we have a number out there, and that's how we budget. So obviously, the benefit of being self-funded is when your claims run well, the county saves money.
Right.
As opposed to being fully insured. When your claims run well, the carriers, insurance companies make money. So having your claims running where they ran the prior year, obviously a great thing, and we'll talk about why that is. On the next slide, slide 4, this is a recap. I was here last year, I think right on this same week, this same meeting in April, and doing what I'm doing today. And the board approved renewing with Meritain, Aetna, and Veracity. Meritain's our TPA, our third-party administrator. We use the Aetna network. And Veracity is the pharmacy benefit manager who will get our pharmacy coverage through. We renewed with all 3 of those vendors. Last year, Swiss Re was our stop-loss carrier, and they were requesting a 33% increase. We went to market, and we actually ended up making a change for our stop-loss, our reinsurance, under the plan, going to companion life at an actual decrease of 3.65%. So we're looking at a 33% increase, ended up renewing at a decrease. There was one little change to a laser, and I'll get into lasers here in a minute. Bottom line, we renewed for this current plan year at just at about 8.5%, about a $251,000 expected increase, and there were no changes to the plans or employee deductions. We also renewed everything else, the Guardian plan with the dental and vision with no changes, and the basic life and FSA. The one thing I don't have today is our dental renewal. Literally got it late Friday. The dental insurance is voluntary, so it's employee paid. The county's not funding that. Guardian did hit us with a 14% increase. We've already gone to market and got a proposal back at a no change. So that'll be the one thing that we won't talk about today. But if Guardian isn't willing to come back, then there's a good chance we'll end up changing the dental insurance to a MetLife is who it is now. But just didn't have that in time for this meeting. So what I'm talking about today is really just the group health. On the next slide, slide 5, is our current ag report for the 24-25 plan year. And go down to the same area where I pointed last time on this similar slide for the prior year, you'll see 93%. So we're still running better than expected, but only about 7% at this point. And when we look at claims, how the claims have ran through February of this year, it's about $147,000 better than we projected, or better than was projected for the plan year. So still running well, and one thing that does drive our renewal, which we'll get into, is our stop loss. So our stop loss reimbursements. And so if you'll notice, you'll see in the middle section, if you come down to the bottom, you'll see 132,000. I have a slide on this, but we have had 132,000 reimbursements this year on a couple of members. And so it's how our claims are running and our stop loss reimbursements really what drive the next plan year, which is what I'll get into on the middle slide. Our next slide is our high cost claimants. You know, we have obviously all employees, the family members, spouses, and kids covered under the plan. And out of everybody, we've had about 5 claimants, or we've had 5 claimants go over 50% of the stop loss deductible. And just to refresh your memory, the county's stop loss deductible is $100,000. So this report shows anybody that's going over 50,000, and it's in order of claims. So the number one claimant 1 up there, you're going to see if you go all the way to the far right, you're going to see that claimant's had 368,000, and the one below, claimant 2's had 163,000 so far through February in paid claims. The one claimant number 1, you'll notice I have the red down below under claimant 1. That individual has a $300,000 laser, and so basically everyone at the county that's covered under the plan has a $100,000 deductible, except this one individual, which we talked about last year, who has a $300,000 laser. So the county pays all the claims up to $300,000, and then anything above $300,000 is paid by the reinsurance.
So that $300 laser, can you expound on that just a little bit more, what you're talking about on this $300,000?
Yes, so again, every single member covered under the county's plan has a $100,000 deductible. That's based on our contract, the contract with the stop loss. So the county pays all those claims until it gets to $100,000, and then the reinsurance pays anything above that. When we have a laser, we've had a laser 2 or 3 years now, the same individual. When a laser's in place, it was $250, it went to $300 for this year. That means that one person, the county's paying the claims all the way up to $300,000 before the reinsurance kicks in. So it's just a separate, specific deductible for that individual.
Okay, so we just had one like that.
We just have one.
What, sir, if I could, how do you choose these people, these one?
It's not us. So when we go to market, we have about 20 different stop loss carriers that we market to. And obviously we're trying to see who's gonna give us the best premium and the lowest claim projections. And we provide them with data. There's data that we pull from the system. That's how we market the benefits and get proposals back. And they see this data, they see the claims that are going on, and they determine, if a laser's needed or not. So it's all about what the anticipated claims are going to be. Now, we actually think that this individual may actually be on the way to improving, and the claims may actually start to drop. Yeah, but it does happen. We actually have a no new laser contract, so no other lasers can be added. But this individual's just been on the plan for a number of years with some stuff going on.
Understandable.
All right. Next slide is just highlights all the pharmacy rebates. Another benefit to being self-funded is if it's set up this way, you can get 100% of RX pharmacy rebates returned to the county. And we moved to Veracity back in 2023, and when we made that move, we started getting 100% of the rebates. They come in the form of a check, and so to date, we've received just over $308,000 paid back to the county in pharmacy rebates. That's about an average of $185,000 a year. These are actually not factored into any of the reports either. This is just money that comes back. I think they started paying those rebates every month, so the county gets a check every single month.
Good deal. Wonderful.
Our next slide is our health plans. As you know, we have 2 health plans. We have a base and a buy-up plan. We got a good mixture between the 2 as far as employees enrolled in each. We're not making any recommendations, any plan recommendations, any plan changes to the plans. And, the only thing we are looking at doing is increasing the employee deductions by $2, every 2 weeks. So that you'll notice down below, right now someone's paying $38 every 2 weeks, it would go to 40. And then across the board, $2 increase. And that generates about an additional $12,000 annually for the whole calendar year. So the employees' portion that they would be paying roughly is gonna be around $617,000 in payroll deductions. So that is the only recommendation we're making is to increase the employee deductions by $2. Okay? And I'll mention this again. Now we get to the meat. This is on slide 9. This is our summary of our health plan. We have, you'll see current, as I mentioned, we have Meritain, we have Companion Life as the stop loss carrier. Meritain's a third-party administrator. Got about 230 employees enrolled. I mentioned everyone has a $100,000 stop loss deductible. And then the premiums that we pay, administrative charges, the specific stop loss, aggregate, and all total, the premium paid by the county for the health point program is a per employee per month of $309.05. If you take that, you annualize it, the county's spending $852,000 before any claims are paid. Now, I'll flip over to, or just look over to the next option, the initial renewal. So this was the initial renewal that Companion Life came out. Because we had the no new laser contract, they were gonna keep the $300,000 laser the same. So they came out and said, well, we'll keep the laser, we wanna increase that laser, we'll keep it at $300,000, but your stop loss premium is gonna go up 51%. So that would have taken the stop loss premium from $852,000 to $1,164,000. Well, we went to market, and the most competitive proposal we got back was from Pan America, which is option 2. We then went back to Companion Life and said, we need you to do better with your premium. You're gonna have to get a little bit more aggressive if you want the county to renew with you. And that's when they dropped their premium back down to earth. And they did match what Pan America did on the laser liability. So if you notice below, go down below claims, you're gonna see laser liability, $300,000, staying at $300,000 under initial. That would go to $500,000 under option 1 and option 2. And that is the one individual. And again, the way it works is we could say, oh, we don't want this laser. We want to keep it at $300,000, but our premium's 100% going to go up, right? Premium is guaranteed. We're paying that no matter what. Whereas we can say, yes, you can increase the laser liability by $200,000, and there's potential that won't happen. So I think in this situation, I would rather have if you go to the bottom, actually, our recommended option 1 is actually lower overall than the initial. So it's much better than where they came out. Option 1, option 2 are pretty similar, but we're recommending stay with Companion Life because, again, I mentioned earlier, we changed last year, and you don't want to get in the habit of changing every year because they're going to know that and they're going to start adding to your premiums. And because they got our premium down to within a couple of points, I think it makes sense to keep our stop loss insurance. You want some stability with them, and you want the history to try to stay with them another year. So that'd be 24 months with them. So that's why we're recommending option 1. If you come down below, you can see it's essentially just over a 6% increase. The total budget number is about $225,000. That does include the laser liability. And the actual, when we look at it from a county net per employee per year, right now the county's budgeted total is right around just over 16,000. It would go to just over 17,000 based on these numbers. The actual fixed cost premium increase is 70,000, right at 71,000. And if you take the laser liability out, the additional laser liability, the overall claims are expected to go down by 33,000. So our actual claim liability is decreasing. It's just that additional 200,000 in liability on the laser is what has to be factored in because that could be something the county pays. So keep in mind though, the last 2 years, these are budget numbers. These are based on expected claims. The counties continue to run below expected. So we sit here today and we look at these numbers and we actually see how the plan year runs, how we finish out. We could be 10, 15% below that. And the reason we've seen the plan run well is, again, what we did with the pharmacy, with Veracity. And a lot of members have been able to get some high-cost drugs at no cost. and of course those rebates. So getting the expensive drugs off the plan has really helped the county. It was one of the benefits of going self-funded and moving to Maritime. So I know that's a lot. I do have it all summarized in the back.
Okay, question. So you recommending option one,
Correct, yes, sir.
and the rationale is because of the, just changing the insurance.
Correct.
If it wasn't for that factor, then option two would really be better.
It would be. I mean, it's slightly better. You're talking about it's about 26,000 premium difference. And there's, I kind of skipped over my renewal notes, if I could, by the way. Maritime, nothing changed on Maritime. The part of the premium increase is Veracity's fee going from $12 to $14. They have a new mobile app that is going to help drive savings down even more, and all of our clients have been adding this, and it's a great app. It helps folks move from high cost drugs to lower cost drugs. They can see all their medications. It has their ID card on there, and they invested a lot of money into this, and they said, okay, we'll roll it out, but we have to increase their fee from 12 to 14 to do that. And I initially was like, why are you charging for your app? No, companies don't do that. And that was one because of the investment into it. It is optional. We do recommend it, and essentially, I think it ends up being additional $2 per employee per month for the year. I want to say it's like $5,000 or $6,000. But they say that this is going to drive pharmacy claims even further down. So it's actually, while there's a cost to it, you'll see a savings on your pharmacy claims. That's their anticipation. The other thing that's included in these numbers is we're looking to implement a health and wellness program through Engagement Health Group. This is, again, it's all in these numbers, but I have a slide on it, and I'll get into that here in a second. But when we were fully insured for years, I think we changed 2020, somewhere around there, 21, we went self-funded. When we were fully insured, we had Anthem all those years. Anthem had a wellness program that they provided. And obviously, they want your members to be healthy because they're paying the claims. So when you go self-funded like we are now, it's really up to the county to design and implement a wellness program. And obviously, there's a cost for that. And it's tough for HR because HR is wearing a lot of hats, and it's really something you need experts to help you on, to help manage. And the whole goal of a wellness program is to take, anybody who's considered high risk, move them to moderate. Anybody who's moderate risk, move them to low risk. And again, wellness program should help save the county money if we can prevent some of those high cost claims from happening. So both these options, the one we're recommending, option one, does include those enhancements. And that was essentially what I wanted to point out there. But yes,
Still go back option one, even though option two would save money.
Again, it's the counties. You guys can vote on this. It's my recommendation not to change every year if you can help it. But yeah, I mean it is a slightly lower. Normally, when we go to market and we have a competing proposal like option two, we go to the carriers will never match because they know, okay, we don't have to match. We're the incumbent carrier. They will get within a couple of points, and generally that's all they need for an employer not to go through the hassle of changing. Now, it's a back-end benefit. It doesn't affect employees at all. It's behind-the-scenes benefit. But what happens is down the next year, when we have to provide the history of the stop-loss carriers, they're going to see the county's changed 3 years in a row, and it will impact us there.
Okay. Any more questions?
I mean, if you just want to skip real quick to slide 14, it kind of summarizes everything. Skip the other ones. So I highlighted the recommended option on here. And overall, the overall increase is about 6%, $235,000 to make to renew the health plan, increase employee deductions. One America went up about, I think it was just under 4% on our basic life, and LTD, we did market that, but that was the best option based on service. Oh, and gosh, I'm sorry. Alliance EAP. Go to slide 13 real quick, please, I'm sorry. This is another thing we wanted to look at adding, is an employee assistance program. Right now, we have one through, it's essentially an add-on free program that's through One America, and it's fine. You don't get a whole lot out of the program. It's, what we're seeing is a lot more employers are offering premium EAPs or sponsoring premium EAPs, and you can see what we're looking at here is moving to Alliance at a cost of $2.40 per employee per month, with an annual cost of about $8,400 to the county. This program we've implemented for a lot of our government clients. It has an emphasis on police, fire, and EMT. There's actual training, there's reporting. They have a critical incident team where they'll come on site anytime there's any kind of incident where we need assistance. But the biggest is the face-to-face counseling is unlimited. Right now, we only have 3 a year. Online's unlimited, so it's a really enhanced employee assistance program. So we wanted to make this, show this, and see if there would be interest by the board to add this as well. So that is summarized on slide 14 under the EAP. So by adding the EAP, renewing as is with the health plan, with the additions of the mobile app and the wellness program, renewing with One America, all total, it's about a $235,000 increase to the budget, or about 6%, which is actually lower than the health plan was for this current plan year last year.
Well, we're gonna come up with that kind of increase. Mr. Burris gonna have to just put it in the pot, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, it don't have to be paid till what, June, end of June?
Yeah, yeah.
You have to drop off something.
Again, in
You
this,
can't have that kind of increase.
well, I can tell you, in our industry, in the group health, they say trend is anywhere from 8 to 12% in group health insurance. So anytime you're running half of that or below, you're doing better than most. But keep in mind, we're running better than we budgeted for the last several years. And again, the $308,000 that we got back in pharmacy rebates is not even factored in. That's money that comes back to the county. This is just budgetary numbers, because we have to, we budget off expected, but if we run well, when the year's said and done, like the prior year where we were $400-something thousand below what we budgeted, chances are we're gonna see something like that. If the laser liabilities, the bulk of this, that's $200,000 in that 235. If that claimant doesn't hit, then there was no increase at all for the year, essentially.
So right now, 6% though, right?
6%.
6%, what you got right there, 235.
Yep.
As opposed to last year.
As opposed to last year. Now, this is, I don't know how the county does the budget, but, it's essentially, when you see how in 23-24, claims ran significantly below budget. This year, we're running below budget. These numbers are in the contract, so that's how, all of our clients always budget off expected. But, it may be that when the year's said and done, our cost for 25-26 was the same as 23-20 or 24-25. You just don't know if claims are gonna run good years, bad years.
And basically what he's telling you is the rebate that we got on the pharmaceutical would more than pay for that increase.
Absolutely.
And it may not increase that much is what he's telling you is possible.
And we're probably gonna get more back next year anyway.
We ain't never got nothing back.
We got back
Yes.
$308,000.
$308,000.
If you give me $4 million, I give you back that much.
No, we get back $308,000.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's kind of like an offset, one offset the other.
And by the wellness program, again, that is the intention of that is to help drive claims down, get people healthy, motivated, and we've been on a couple calls, and there's been a lot of behind the scenes talking about it. I know Teresa is very much in support of it. It's tough to manage a wellness program by yourself for an employer your size. So that's what Engagement Health Group will come in to do. There's health coaching. They have an application. They'll help with challenges. They help with weekly menu items to cook, recipes, healthy recipes. So there's a lot that they do to really get folks motivated. And there's one-on-one coaching that's involved. So it's a really robust program, and we think that's going to help a lot with managing the claims and keeping people healthy.
And that's something that's already figured in this already.
It is. You know, it's built into those numbers. I kind of skipped over, but we have a $20,000 wellness fund. So right now in this current year, it's $15,000, and that is money that is reimbursed to the county. And we got them to bump it up to $20,000 for starting July 1. So that's factored into those fixed rates, subtracting that $20,000 out, because for the program that we're talking about with EHG, we'll get refunded $20,000 through Meritain. So that's all factored into the numbers.
Okay, any more questions?
You just got your 20,000 back right there. I like it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you,
all
sir.
right, thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, a bid award for the dirt road paving project, Pascal Road, North McDonald, Griffin, and Cornelius.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was a request to approve the bid for those roads just mentioned. Thrift Brothers LLC was the low bidder with a total base bid of $2,764,725.60. The only other bidder was the Scruggs Company with a total base bid of $3,376,898.75. So Hofstetler and Associates had a bid opening for these bids, and in their letter, they recommended that we go with Thrift Brothers Construction for the bids.
What'd you say that bid was on Scruggs?
$3 million.
3 million.
Yeah,
man.
3 million, I said
$300,000.
I'm sorry, 3 million.
I'm
He
gonna
said
say,
He said
3,000.
$3,000.
get them
3
in there right
million.
now.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, we'll take that, we'll even give them a tip.
3,376,000, how about that?
We'll give them a big gratuity. You know,
So, in your package, you're gonna have two bids from, Scruggs, and the second bid is just a correction on their, tab sheets. But it was still higher than Thrift Brothers LLC. And in the, description, I've summarized basically, that two of the roads will come out of the LMIG that's already approved, which is Pascal Road and Cornelius Road, and those two will be approximately $206,000 less than what we've been awarded in LMIG funds for those. So, there'll be some leftover LMIG money, and that LMIG's a LRA grant LMIG, so there's no match. So we'll have to decide, doing an amended summary sheet and what we want to put the extra 200,000, which roads we want to try to expand those on.
All right, any more discussion on it? Carry it over.
and then, I think I asked in a particular order, the way these roads will be done.
Well, these will be done all in one contract.
I mean, but I'm saying, like,
Oh.
which one will be started on first, or how do they do
Whatever
that? I mean, you
contract.
done this kind of stuff, how do they usually do it?
They usually start, sometimes they'll start on all of them, maybe
At
do a
one
little
time?
work, they'll clear, they'll go
Okay.
through and clear them, and then they'll come back and grade them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's done like a system, so
Yeah.
you'll move kind of like moving the equipment through.
Whichever
You'll
one they
do the
start.
grading and the grubbing, and then that group will move to the next one while the next group comes in.
Yeah,
Next, I think that's how it usually works.
yeah, they usually do it like that.
That's a pretty
Okay.
good price for all of them.
Any more discussion on it? All right, carry it over. All right. Repeal model soil erosion and sediment control ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request to discussed repealing our model soil erosion sediment control ordinance. Currently, Ware County is a LIA, which is a local issuing authority for soil erosion sediment control permits. And what that means is that essentially after the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission approves a set of plans, then we would issue a permit to the developers. Under this process, a developer has to submit their plans to Athens for approval. And then it goes to Athens, it's reviewed. If they have any changes, it's sent back. And then I think there's another like 45-day period once it's back at Athens to get it approved, before it can be approved. If we repeal the ordinance and remove our LIA status, then developers can submit their plans straight to EPD in Brunswick. And I spoke to several engineers and they said that they can get a permit roughly 2 to 3 weeks by submitting it to Brunswick, versus going to Athens. And before 2000, I came in 2000, it was LA then, when I started working for the county. And we had this program, but my understanding, we did this program to help developers because the NRCS building was in the federal building by the post office, and they approved our plans then. So we can come and get a plan approved in a good turnaround. But now everything goes to Athens, and it's just it's a longer wait game. Besides just going to Brunswick and getting approval over there.
So it would speed it up if it goes through Brunswick versus to Athens and come back.
Yes, sir. It'll speed it up. And the other side about this is the only person that's licensed or certified as an inspector is me in the county. So, and I don't have time to go out and inspect silk fence, walk around. So we'd have to, either if we do this or we'll send somebody else to school.
Well,
to
these
get
engineers
their
have
blue
one, don't
card.
They're not a county employee.
the engineers that's doing these projects, they have an inspector.
But there's not only projects, it's not just for roads.
Yeah.
It's for, other things as well,
For buildings and everything.
buildings and everything, yeah.
So this is gonna speed up the process and save us some money. Because we
Right,
don't want to send anybody to school for it.
right.
And the only way that we can implement is we have to repeal our LIA status now.
Right, yes, sir. We'll send a letter to EPD stating that the commission has repealed the model ordinance and that they will become responsible for, enforcing soil erosion sediment control.
Okay. So you think this would be a good thing to do then?
I do.
Carry it back then. Okay. All right, any questions on it? All right, let's carry it over. Let's see. Okay, ordinance for 2025-02, amend the Ware County Code to include cryptocurrency. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request to approve an ordinance to add crypto mining regulations in our county code of ordinances. We have no request for one of these at this time, but if you recall, I think last month or the month before, we put a moratorium on these. And, so we're just trying to develop some regulations to provide our citizens some protection from these. They're very noisy.
are we gonna have somebody that, I mean, who's gonna look at this and say where it's gonna go and what's gonna happen?
So this doesn't.
If somebody wants to build one.
Right, this just gives you regulations on these. Your zoning ordinance will actually dictate where it goes, and that'll be handled at a public hearing later tonight. This may have some setback requirements in there, but that's just kind of a standard. So we'll have a public hearing. I don't wanna say too much because it's a public hearing, but there'll be a public hearing tonight for what districts it's allowed in. So,
This means though, if somebody wants to come in, that he's got to bring it before the planning commission, and then he'll have to have a public hearing if it,
not on this.
This is gonna be something for the hearing, that'll be discussed later.
This is just developing some standards for cryptocurrency, data mining.
Basic guidelines, essentially.
Yeah, so your
what the rules are.
location restrictions will come tonight at a public hearing if it's approved.
this just be
Just to outline.
Yes.
the outline of what we can do, what we can't do.
Right.
So you gonna put one in there.
Yep.
All right, any more questions on it? All right, let's do this. Move that one over. Okay, the next one is for solar farm, same thing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the
25-03, amend the Ware County Code to include solar farms.
Mr. Chairman, this is the same as the crypto, except it's to allow or set provisions for solar farms in Ware County. It provides for definitions and then, it establishes some general requirements, and also it will, provide for decommissioning of a solar farm. And this is just a model ordinance that we've taken and run through our county attorneys and made some changes for it.
Mr. Manager, one
Yes, sir.
quick question here. The solar farms that we currently have, are they under these plans here?
No, they can't be.
No, they're grandfathered.
They're
Their
already in.
grandfathers?
Yeah, so I think you could probably, you may can, hold them to decommissioning when they go to decommission, but like this requires a bond of 125% of decommissioning cost. So you won't be able to go back and make them put that bond in now, but. I
Unless
think
they change some
still-
kind of schematics to it or something.
If they add on or whatever, yes.
Right.
And what about on a renewal? If they got it on 20 years and it renews, will it won't fall back under this? Then will it?
It may if.
Under the new renewal?
It may
If
if
they
you
already got the
renew
renewal in place?
It could, I'll have to consult with our attorneys.
And,
that
and I
gonna-
think, yeah,
How's that gonna work?
one other way it may be addressed is sometimes in the contracts themselves, even when it's not required, like at this time, we did, when those were put in, there wasn't the local ordinance on it, but within the contracts, between, the solar developer and the landowner, sometimes it does already have addressed decommissioning and, other issues like that. So it's not necessarily that it's, not covered, it's just that, the county's ordinance was not in place, so they couldn't be held to it. But it could be already in their contract, and many times you will see that in a contract already.
Yeah.
There is actually something that's in there regarding the decommissioning. It says, every 5 years and upon every change in ownership of owner, the decommissioning plan and estimated cost shall be updated, and the owner shall obtain administrative approval. So
if it's a change of ownership,
yeah.
you can, okay.
Right.
It can still, so if it renews or change of
It says
ownership,
every 5 years and upon. So
okay.
So that covers it. So that means
attorney
you
may
got
be
to
able to
pay.
clarify that just a little bit, but
Again, I think your solar you have in place, is gonna be grandfathered in with specific exceptions. So, for us to, pontificate on what may or may not happen in the future as far as ownership and all those different types of things, but I think it is fair to say that, current solar farms are grandfathered in. What we're trying to address is moving forward.
Right.
Okay. All right, any more on it?
No, and I'm glad we're doing this, Mr. Chairman, because we're trying to be proactive right now rather than react as a community not far from here had to do, and that's what they're dealing with now.
Right,
Yeah, Pierce County.
okay. Not, let's carry that over. All right, the ordinance of 2025-04 establish a 30 miles per hour speed zone on Neighbors Drive and add to approval to approved radar list.
This is a request, Mr. Chairman, from the sheriff's office, and then I think also Mr. Cox, Commissioner Cox has gotten some complaints, about speeding motorists there, so, the sheriff has asked that we adopt this ordinance establishing 30-mile-an-hour speed limit on Neighbors Drive, and to add it to the, approved radar list. And I've asked the sheriff and his staff, or would he send some of the staff out to make sure we have the legal sight distance on that road, and we do, for them to run radar. And this would basically add this to the approved list that goes to DOT and allow the sheriff's office to run radar on that road
And write tickets.
and write tickets if they need to.
Neighbors Drive, where,
And Neighbors Drive is gonna be in Pebble Hill area off Sand Hill Road.
Sand Hill.
Yeah, it's all a residential community back there. Augusta Springs subdivision.
And it's all paved back there too, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
All right,
So I got a question, Mr. Chairman. So whenever we change these speed limits, and these things show up on, these mapping programs, who's in charge of putting that stuff to the mapping programs?
So it's up to the private companies who do this, like Google, TomTom, to acquire the information from either DOT or the counties, for that.
Okay. The reason I was asking, because soon as you get on, if you get on Seminole Trail, right about the time you hit the county line, heading out towards Central Avenue, it always comes up as 80-mile-per-hour speed limit.
Yeah. So
So I'm gonna, I mean,
what program are you using?
whatever's in my Ford truck.
So,
Probably Google.
Yeah, it's a probably Android based or whatever, but it says that I can go 80 miles an hour on that strip.
so just always remember the signs on the side of the road. Be important than Google.
But anyways, I just thought it was kind of weird that it always shows up at 80 miles an hour as speed limit on that little stretch. I think it's from right about the county line on Seminole, right up until about you hit the curve, that real sharp curve, and then it's like
So that
30
might be why
miles.
you get so many complaints of speeding over there.
Probably so.
But no, if you can find out if it's on Google or whatever,
Yeah.
then Dustin can submit a request. Change.
I mean, I'm sure if somebody gets caught for 80 miles an hour, they can't claim that.
Right.
You know.
Especially when they're looking at speed limit signs.
Yeah.
It's 35.
Especially if there's a sign sitting there.
Get a fine on it. Okay, any more on that? I will carry it over. All right, G, right-of-way mowing contract renewal.
Mr. Chairman, this is a request to extend the right-of-way mowing contract to K&A Mowing LLC. It's the same contract we had last year, same numbers. And in the proposal, it had the option to renew if both parties agree. So we're asking that it renew one more time, and this will be paid out of the single county T-Splost, and this about wind up that money's in there. So we'll be able to start
Well, they
closing that one out.
Okay, go ahead.
That's it.
Is this the same guy that's been doing it?
Yes, sir.
We
Mr.
got-
Tripp, is that his name, Tripp?
Roser?
Roser?
Andy Roser?
Hey, some of them places in them wet areas, they're not cutting the backside of that right-of-way like they're told to one time.
They've not cut some of them in the wet
I
areas?
don't know, we need to look into that.
Okay.
Some of us, before we sign this here, we need to talk to him about that, because there's
Okay.
some areas, and I've seen it on, what's that, Manor Millwood Road. There's some on, I believe, Jim Mixon, they didn't cut back, some on the 8 Mile Post.
Now, he's finishing up some of his.
It's the
lawn
wet
mowing.
areas that they don't go to the, and I
They
know
won't
that
go
sometimes
through
it's too wet, but they need to come back when they get a dry spell and cut
Right.
some of those. And they never do, hadn't done it this whole
So
year.
I'm wondering if, I know because of the wet areas and because of the rain, he was behind on his boom mowing, and he's trying to go back and finish those up, so I'll check and see if that's part of that as well.
There's some that needs to be done, and we need, there's a question about that before I agree to that.
Okay,
Because if he ain't gonna, get that back right away, it's been a year now.
right,
Sometime in a year, you need to hit it.
right.
Okay.
So we just hold that
Any
one,
more?
just hold that one to the next.
I think,
Is that what y'all wanna do?
What y'all,
well, appreciate your concern, Mr. Chairman. I talked with the, public works director. I called him about this and was asking him about his feeling about this, contract, and he said, overall, he's satisfied, but he did say some issues that he has addressed with this guy that's doing the work, and say he's always come right back out, take care of whatever he needs, any concerns he got. And, but overall, he say he's satisfied and he can always get him right back out there.
well, he ain't looked at all of it, but I can sure go carry you some, show you where he ain't.
That's what I'm saying, maybe place he talking about, maybe get with the manager and get with the
Several.
works director.
Several places.
And, but it's get time when we're gonna have to kinda start cutting now.
Yeah.
It's getting-
It's about here, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may. Mr. Manager, I know this happened probably about a year and a half ago, but, and it might be a little bit less time than that, the way time runs here, but one of the people that we contract tore a whole cul-de-sac out on 520 East. I mentioned it probably about a year and a half ago. And I was wondering if they had ever went back and fixed that cul-de-sac.
You lost me, cul-de-sac. on
Not a cul, I'm
520.
sorry, not a cul-de-sac, the,
Culvert?
culvert. I mean, ripped it completely out. I mean, you see where it ripped up and it was bent like a U.
We shouldn't have been on 520 East mowing or anything.
Well,
That's a state route.
it was on 520 East
Yeah,
going
that
out.
shouldn't have been us. That should have been DOT.
Well, I was wondering whoever did it, if they ever went back and fixed it, because to me, it's still a big hole there.
I'll check with Dusty Mercer with DOT.
Okay,
But yeah, our contractor should not have been on
on 520 East.
520, right. They
Well,
shouldn't
then
be
it
on
didn't-
any state routes.
Been on DOT then.
Okay.
That's all I got, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any more on this?
So what are we doing? Are we moving it or?
Let's look into this a
I
little
would say
before
let's
we
look
agree
into
Table
with
it for
this.
further
I wanna,
information.
At
I wanna
least
get
for
more.
2 weeks, maybe.
Well, we won't have another meeting till, the second Monday in May.
May 12th.
Cause
Is that
we'll
too
all
late?
be in training in the second Monday in, April.
yeah.
So when does this contract end, the one he's on now?
It signed the 8th day of May, so it would expire technically in May
May
8th.
8th.
But as far as I know, he's made his rounds on the right-of-way mowing. He's got some areas left on the boom arm mowing, the back of the shoulders mowing.
Yeah.
So, and I'll check that, maybe some of the roads that the chairman is speaking of.
I would think if we went on, renew the contingent with him addressing these issues, that the chairman has, the roads, and make sure he has that on his to-do list.
I just need some
I'll
roads
agree
and
to
some
renew
areas.
it, but we need to, let him know about those areas
Right.
that he needs to do, that needs to catch him up, because,
And I'll find out, tomorrow, I'll get with, Public Works Director and Mr. Roser
yeah,
and find out,
Okay.
what areas he's doing with his boom mower
all right,
as well, cause I know he's still got some of that left to do.
okay.
That's part of this, that's part of last year's contract.
Mr. Chair, you will,
Yeah,
please.
go ahead.
Mr. Manager, playing devil's advocate here, it's $372,320. And we've got how many employees out there that actually cut grass right now? 6, 8?
I don't know how many he's got for the tractors. I don't think he has that many for tractors, cause I don't think we have but 2 tractors, if I'm not mistaken.
We don't have what they did. That's why they wouldn't.
They have the Momaxes, which cut the
The
brush
two, the
on
two
back.
big ones that we bought, yeah.
But all they do is they're boom arm mowers. They don't have bush hogs.
He just mows these wrong roads, or we don't like them.
So,
I was just wondering why we got both. I mean, you're paying about the same amount to both. You're paying a little over
Yeah,
$500,000
it's probably
a year.
taking, It takes a lot to mow them. Yeah,
Well, this is mowing and picking up litter, mowing
Yeah.
those roads and picking up litter once a year. So, and I can't, the litter's once a year.
3 times.
And the, mowing's 3 times a year.
He got litter 3 times, litter removal.
I'm sorry, 3 and 3, I'm sorry.
3.
I was looking at the
And 3
boom
on
arm
the
mowing.
side,
So,
and 1 on the edge of the right of way.
and I'm not sure if why we contracted for this, except the fact that we didn't have enough staff at Public Works to handle the mowing, and maybe we don't have the tractors to handle the mowing.
Well, we just had the manager in over that department about a month and a half ago in here. And he said that, you know, he asked to buy a new mower or a new tractor. And I think we told him no on that. But he said right now he's got 6 tractors and, you know, mowers, bush hogs for every one of them.
I haven't seen that. I think that was a misunderstanding.
The 6, maybe
So-
6 graders, but not.
Yes, you know, we have multiple graders, but I don't recall seeing but like a John Deere that has a boom arm on it, and then another
Those 2
tractor
blue
for the mowing.
Commissioner Cox knows how many we got out there.
He's got 2, older John Deeres with, bush hogs behind them that they used to mow with, which, I think he still uses them, you know, where he
Right.
needs them. And he uses the boom mowers, you know, where he needs them, so. He just don't go out to the longer roads, you know, with them.
And I can check our equipment list, it's in my office.
And that's the boom
Okay.
max you're talking about.
The 2 boom
The 2
things.
blue ones.
That's all there is.
Okay.
All right, any more on that? Just go ahead and we'll carry it over.
Okay.
And hire more and
Okay.
then-
All right, H, UGA Extension Office Budget Agreement.
Mr. Chairman, this was just our annual, extension office agreement for their budget,
And she's here.
and she's here if you wanna speak on it.
Okay.
It's something we do every year.
She come
so-
up.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just our, annual pay agreement for the portion of the payment that the county pays to all the employees at the extension office. It's no different than what we do every year. There's a slight, a little over 1% increase in the TRS, which is the retirement payment that the county puts in, but other than that, it's the same salary based on what we had over the past
Same.
year.
Okay,
So it's just a standard
all
document,
right.
agreeing to keep us on.
Y'all have
Yeah.
any questions for her?
And I met with Beverly on it, she was okay with it.
Yeah, I talked with her, she says pretty much standard, everything is
Everything the same.
just like it's supposed to be.
All right, we thank you.
Thank you.
All right, carry that over. Okay, discussion of Georgia DOT installing right cut at intersection of Carswell Avenue, SR 122 and SR 520, US 82. Now that, y'all see what that is, that's, they saying that, is that in lieu of a red light? Or
Yeah.
it'd be in lieu of a red
Well,
light?
they
but
say that it doesn't want a red light there.
They won't let us get a red light.
Right, won't get a red light.
They must have drove through there lately.
So we don't really want them to do that there, do you? That's stopping that traffic. You can't go across 122 no more.
Mr. Chair, if I may, if they say it don't warrant a red light, but it warrants a closure, that just don't make no sense to me.
It don't, I mean, either.
So
Makes no sense.
I would just, at the request of the board, I requested that a study be done, or I requested to have stop signs installed with the flashing light, solar flashing light, red light. And then just a few days later, I got back this study, and basically it says that, with the explanation says that the traffic counts and the wrecks, the traffic data and the crash data does not warrant any changes as far as signalization to that intersection. However, they did want to install an R-cut. And if you'll turn to the last page of that section, not the back side of that page, but the front side, it's with an email, James Schubert on top.
Where's it at?
Just before tab J. There's a diagram.
Be, way over the last
The
one.
last one.
Yeah, it's got page 1 at the bottom, it's the last page. That's a diagram, that's not that intersection specifically, but that is what an R-cut is. This was provided by DOT, and basically, if you're traveling west on 122 or Carswell Avenue, you approach 82, and you would have to turn right.
Yep.
And then you would have to go down, if you wanted to go back to 82, you'd have to go to Musket Trail, which is approximately 4,500 feet. And you either do a U-turn there or turn on Musket Trail and come back out on Carswell Avenue or 122. If you're traveling east on 122 on the west side, coming up to the west side of 82, you would also have to turn right. So what R-cut stands for is right turns only. Now, with the exception if you're traveling east or west on 82, you can make a left-hand turn onto Carswell Avenue or 122.
Yeah.
If you look at that diagram. So essentially what they're trying to do is just prevent any traffic from crossing all four lanes and the two turning lanes there, going through there. That's what the purpose of R-cut. You see a lot in Florida and you see a lot in big cities. You don't see a lot of these in rural areas, but
Because they don't have semi-tractor trailers like we do in big
correct.
cities like that, and rural areas like that. And if I may, Mr. Chair, this right here, to me, and it will stand out to any police officer that's done any kind of service whatsoever in working wrecks. You're talking about him taking a ride off of Carswell Avenue and going right down there to the bottom half of that overpass, and you're talking about an 18-wheeler doing a turnaround there at the bottom of an overpass?
No, the bottom of the overpass is on down a little ways. That's a good ways down there.
Yeah.
Not coming off of Carswell Avenue, it's not, the overpass isn't a long ways from Carswell Avenue.
It's not a long way down there, but
It's
it
not
is
a long ways
little
down there.
Right.
It's a little
So,
ways.
but
And
I
then when
didn't have
they
that. I didn't
turn-
map that
I
out.
see what
but-
you're saying.
They do that U-turn, and they have to take over both lanes when they come out of there doing that U-turn.
Yeah, it's not a good scenario for a big truck.
I don't think we need, I don't like that. Mr. Manager,
Can I ask something about it?
Can we go ahead?
The only thing concerns me about it, James, is the way you're gonna have to, if you're coming from the west side of 122, that road don't run straight in. It runs in at a angle kind of, and it's already hard to look back if you look west to pull out on that road, it's already hard, but with that there, you're not gonna be able to look back and see if anything's coming right there.
Right. So I can ask if they're going to do any realignments there as well. I know this was just a request for me to put it on the agenda to see if the county commission supported the ideal or not. So, and that's what we're here for.
Another thing, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Go ahead. Mr. Carson.
my concern is, okay, if you're going west on 520, 122, okay,
but it's not.
if you put this R cut in there, you got to make a right off of Carswell going west. Okay, that's not so bad maybe for a vehicle, but if you got a semi or something, and you remember now, you got a business over there right there at the corner 122 and 520 East, that monument
Right.
thing. Now, I'm pretty sure they have to have stuff brought in maybe by semi. I'm just speculating there. So if they were coming down 520 West, they would have to go somewhere. They got to turn somewhere. Now, if they try to make that first place that you can turn, which is, I wrote it in, it's 0.8 of a mile.
Right.
Now you're creating you're solving one problem, but now you're creating another problem. Because now, if that semi is trying to turn to come back to that business down there, we setting ourselves up for something bad to happen.
And what I would, just piggyback off that, if the commission was chooses to agree or go along with this R-cut, I would ask that we put weight limits on Musket Trail and Anita Street. Because if you don't, and if you've got trucks coming west, they're gonna turn right, get on 82, they're gonna go to Musket Trail, and they're gonna go right through that neighborhood that has children and everything playing down Musket Trail, then turn right back on Carswell. And then the same thing, they would go to Anita, turn left if they're going back on Carswell. And that'd be slight chance because most people, they're gonna keep going east on 82 to get where they're going. But if they did turn there, they would have a hard time negotiating that turn at Anita Street and 122 or Carswell Avenue. So if you did agree with this, I'd ask that we put weight limits on, we establish an ordinance at another month to establish weight limits on those two streets.
Thought we already had weight limits on.
On Anita Street on the O side.
Yeah, them roads ain't built for truck.
Yeah, ain't none of them built for trucks.
Yeah. But
Musket Trails, Anita Street,
What
North
we-
South, Mexico Avenue, none of those are built.
So if you wanna just not move this forward, I can email the guy back and ask for more, information on the.
Is
on
this
the
a
terms.
sort of example of it over there on, that we could have?
Basically,
That
Chairman,
there could, you could turn there.
if I understood that right there, basically think of Nickel Street at 520. That's what they're wanting to do there, is Nickel Street at 520. Same exact thing. Now, Nickel Street, it was needed, cause you got a 45, 50 degree
Yeah, but that,
embankment.
you
It
come
was
down the
needed,
hill there.
coming down off that hill. But
This
out
is
that
all
far,
flat ground though.
the only thing that bothers me is going west, going toward Tifton. That's the only turnaround that bothers me, because they're gonna be pretty doggone close to that overpass out there at Industrial Park. If they have to go west to turn around and come back east, that's the only place they can do a U-turn.
Well, if he's
Unless they
coming-
go over that hill.
But a semi can't do a U-turn
Exactly,
on those roads. They'd have to take up all 4 lanes.
right. So now this right here is gonna turn them off of their established route. It's gonna put them on a smaller road. And then we're gonna put up limit signs on roads that we're asking them to travel down, just to get back to where they're going.
Right.
So I don't see how we're gonna win there.
Okay.
Is that gonna be cheaper to do that than a red light would be?
No.
DOT runs, when it comes to red lights, from my understanding, they run strictly on numbers. And, and it's, the numbers is what they go by, and we've requested several.
And you're talking about the same road where they put a red light out there in Industrial Park.
Right.
And you're just talking about one road up, and they say we don't meet the numbers, but we met the numbers there at Industrial Park.
And I bet they've had more
wrecks.
fatalities at 122 than they have at that other one.
Exactly. See, that's what I don't understand, Mr. Manager. I don't understand this diagram, why it was, it's got zeros or negatives, I'm gonna say, at every corner. There's nothing good gonna come from this.
Right. Well, and I spoke to the
Can we,
gentleman in Jessup, and I told him I felt strongly that our commission would not approve or go along with this without some more clarification. So I'll get with him and see if I can't get some answers on, semis turn around, or so we'll see what they say.
can we table this thing?
Yes, sir.
You can. You don't have to do anything
Let's
on it
table
tonight.
this thing and let it, we don't know what we wanna do with it yet. And nobody knows the whole outcome of it. Let's table this one.
Yeah. So I would just say no action tonight. So and then I'll.
We got no action on it, we'll table it at the meeting. All right. Discussion of the budget for Castor Wildlife. Now that's for Beaver.
All right. Who we got here to talk about
What we
that?
wanna do is
Has
ask
anybody
to
reached
set the
out?
budget, huh,
Has anybody reached out to Gary and see if he would do it?
Gary?
Gary Martin.
Yeah, I
Oh,
talked to
yeah,
him today.
he's still gonna he's still gonna be doing the same thing. But we need to get rid of them. We got them killing timber now. There's some areas on the Valdosta Highway and over around Manor where they backed up water in them creeks. It's killing timber over there.
Yeah.
I can go show you something now.
And
We need to do something about these beavers.
yeah,
What we wanna do is put a bounty on them for, and there's a plan somehow we can work it with,
Digging on.
letting certain ones in the county be responsible for buying these beaver tails. We're gonna have to run an honest system on it, all I know, and we just gonna have to assume they all come out of Ware County. We don't wanna be buying them from other counties.
exactly. Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I talked with Gary today and, got beaver eradication 101 from him. But like he was saying, okay, and I mentioned about the freezer thing, the tail and all that, and just like you just said, that if you do something like that, now you're getting into where you don't know where those beaver tails are coming from. And they're not monogrammed, the beaver tails not monogrammed, say I'm from Brantley County, I'm from Pierce County, but, and I just say that in jest, but I agree, like I say about this beaver, something got to be done. He's the only one doing it right now, I believe. And what I was thinking, okay, and I think right now he only does it in the winter months.
Yeah,
Right.
And so, in the summer, which I can understand, but then, you know, you may have someone that's pretty daring, say, well, hey, I get him in summer too, you know, we don't wanna cut him out, but we need to take care of this problem.
Right.
So, with that being said, I think if we increase our budget more for beaver eradication, or castor to be animal correct there, that we, increase our budget and maybe try to get some other people. And he mentioned, I think it was, maybe it was Larry, him one that says someone that's retired from DNR, that they may be interested, you know, in doing this, but, it's a problem, we got to address it. And one other thing, Mr. Chairman, if these beavers are on private property, then that property owner needs to take care of that, right? We don't need to be taking care of paying for beaver eradication on private property.
property.
Well, no,
No.
they're killing their timber.
Unless
Yeah,
it
but-
affects our downstream on our
Right,
property,
right.
then we don't need to be on
Yeah,
private
I just
property.
don't, I mean,
If it don't affect us downstream or upstream. If it affects the county upstream or downstream, I would say we need to go on private property.
Right.
But if it don't affect us, we don't need to step foot on private property, Mr. Manager.
Well, I mean, by law, we can't step foot on private property.
Without their permission.
Now, it's kind of, you know, without an easement type thing, but now when you're dealing with a contract of that nature with beavers, I just have to check in on it, because if you have a beaver dam, if once he gets so high, he's gonna affect us downstream or upstream. We're either gonna be really dry or flooded. So, and if you know how a beaver works, they'll build a dam here, and once that water fills up and it starts flowing over it, they'll go downstream a little bit and they build another one, and they'll build another one. So it's kind of like a stairway of dams that they build. So, but we'll have to get with our attorneys on that as far as us saying, you know, telling the trappers to go on private land, absolutely not. But, you know, if they go on private land and bring back a tail, because even with a trapper, what we're paying for is that tail. So if they go and bring back a tail, then, you know, we would pay for that tail.
Have we thought about a price of the tail yet?
I think they're going around $25-$35, but, you know, it's according to what gas does and where they gotta go.
That's
I mean,
right.
you know, we used to have problems with beavers kind of out in the swamp area, but now you have a problem with beavers, Nichols, Bickley, everywhere you go, there's a problem with a beaver.
Pebble Hill.
well, that was one of the things that Gary mentioned, is that, you know, it's getting to where it's getting to kind of be almost cost prohibitive, because you got to travel, we have to say Nichols or around that area, and you only get 2 or 3 beavers, you know. And I don't know if you have to make multiple trips up there or what, I don't know how it works, you know.
Yes, sir.
But,
Well, Very
You ain't
rarely
gonna get
now are
'em
they
with a
catching
trapper.
one beaver.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why you're not gonna get them all with trapper.
You ain't gonna get them with trappers. That's what, when you put it, limit it to just trappers, you ain't gonna get the beavers, you ain't gonna hurt them. They graze faster now.
Well,
You get 5 trappers and they won't trap Ware County.
that brings me to my next point. He also stated that beavers are considered an animal nuisance. There's no binding, I mean, not no
That's right.
binding, but there's no limit on, I mean, it's open season all the time. And it's unfortunate that we would have to resort to that, but they're causing problems.
Whatever program the commission comes up with, whomever Ware County pays, they will have to have a valid trapper's license.
Even if they go out there with a 22 Magnum rifle.
If they're bringing us tail, we gotta have a license, because you can't shoot them off the road with a 22. I mean, because it's illegal to shoot from public
But
roadway.
you just wanna quit with this then. Just
So-
ignore it, just forget about it, cause you ain't gonna get them like that.
So, well, I mean, whoever's
You're not
storing
gonna
it for
get,
you.
you can't have a trapper killing, I mean, you ain't gonna get them like that.
Well, I'm not
I
saying
got common
every,
sense, you ain't gonna do that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not saying every individual that goes out and gets those beavers has to have a trapper's license. What I'm saying, if you have freezers put around the storage, the people collecting those tails would have to have a license.
What, that's what I was saying
So
about,
that's who we're paying, is, so they have a valid license.
Mr. Chairman, that's what I was saying about the freezers.
Now, when they had the bounty on them, they didn't. They just took them from whoever brought them in.
Well, how long ago was that? I mean, cause I don't know what the laws
It
were
ain't
back
been that
then.
long ago since they had a bounty on them.
So, cause I know, I've been here 25 years and we ain't had a bounty in 25 years
When did they have the bounty? Anybody,
that I can recall.
I don't think it's been
It
since
was
I've been here.
about $25 for them or something.
What, my
The
understanding,
state paid for it.
my understanding, Mr. Chairman, right now is that the trapper, whenever he gets these tails, he takes them to the public works facility. And they verify, the tails, and that's what we've been doing it now. But like I say, we can continue to do that, but we also need to implement and be kind of innovative about how we're gonna get rid of this problem. And as I said, I think if we increase this budget for this beaver eradication, then it may give us some more latitude to try different things, to get rid of them.
I just don't wanna put us out there on the line that we get nasty letters from DNR or what have you, so.
I think we just need to make this a co-op program with DNR.
All right.
Cause DNR's been in it with Gary. Gary works with DNR, and I used to work with Gary back in the 90s. And he worked with DNR on a daily basis every time he went out there. So every plan he followed, he got paid by the state of Georgia.
Right.
That's who Gary got paid by. And he also got paid by Ware County, and some places in the city he got paid.
And for me to sit here and say I have an answer, I don't.
But
For
we ain't
anybody
gonna-
to say an answer, I mean, the answer is you try to get as many beaver tails as you can. To
What
try
we
to
need
get ahead
to,
of the
what we need to
situation.
do then is put on 2 or 3 more trappers. If
Right.
that's what you say.
That's what I'm saying, and that would
Well,
necessitate
let's
us
just get some more
increasing the
traffic.
budget up, And we got Public Works Director right there, Mr. Chairman, if maybe he can
He ain't
give
never
some-
caught a beaver, have you, Larry?
give us some insight on that. Could you, maybe you can give us a little bit more insight, cause, until I came on this county commission, I didn't know.
I seen one crossing the road down there by my house the other day. Man, it looked like a,
What's your question?
So do they, where we're going right now, does the trapper have a quota? That we say, all right, listen, you gotta bring us
No,
1,000 tails this year?
I have $1,500 in my existing budget that I was allocated to trap beavers. And we've practically run through that. I'd have to get the latest from Beverly, but I imagine we've used that up. And I would like to, if we're gonna try to pursue these things, add about $10,000 a year, where you can bring on a couple more trappers because they all work together. Gary works for these in Valdosta, they all kind of work back two together, and if one needs some help, they'll go help the other. And that might give us a little more help with the problem. But,
So how many beaver tails you get with that $1,500?
I would have to get
35.
from
I mean, is
Paying
it 35
$35
apiece? Or what is it?
See, I don't know the price, cause that's already written somewhere up here.
ain't it $35?
It's
Hey, what y'all been paying?
I'm not sure if they pay 35 or 25.
Yeah, it's
but
somewhere.
It's either one of those two. I've never seen the invoice on those. So,
So right now, Larry, you thinking, okay, it was mentioned, I think somebody said something about you got to have a licensed trapper. In other words, if you want to go shoot them, you still got to be a licensed trapper to do it?
I think to dispose of the hides and the tails, you have to have a trapper's license. Any kind of trapping in Georgia, you know, and it used to be $50, you go down there to DNR and buy a trapper's license, ain't nothing to it. But, you know, for you to be able to sell like the hides or the tails or the meat somewhere legally, you're supposed to have that trapper's license because it has an ID number on there that they track everything with.
He's a rodent though, he ain't got no.
Yeah, he's
he ain't
a
got no
nuisance,
value on
but
him. I mean,
that's
that's
just-
on him, you kill him like you would a rat.
Well, see, the state's got a way to make some money off of it, and they're gonna make money off of it. I mean, that's the bottom line.
So what, I mean, you kind of deal with this, cause you deal with the beavers and covers and all that stuff. You're thinking if we increase the budget a little bit more, we could get let's get more traffic to come in?
Yeah, that's what I would try first, where I started throwing $50,000 and $100,000 out of it, or some system that you couldn't control to see, you know, just see what you could do with it.
Why don't we increase, cause that $25 a tail's been the same for about 30 years.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, that would, you know, that would help.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause that $25 has been going on since the 90s.
Yeah, gas $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
So we just got one guy that traps now?
Got one guy.
Gary Martin.
He ain't gonna get none of them.
He could probably train a slew of them, but
He could, cause you know what he does, he's got money in his traps, and he don't like us to bust a beaver dam when he goes and traps, cause when you tear part of the beaver dam away, that's where he set his trap. And they come that night to try to fix it back, and he catches them.
right.
So it's, you know, he's supposed to start back trapping this week. He's been on vacation last week, and I got a list of them for him for trap out, so.
Okay.
Is he gonna trap in the summertime now, or?
And most of them don't like to trap because them snakes get in them beaver houses, and you'll be walking there messing around, that sucker stick his head out. I was up there on, road today looking at a pipe. Next thing I know, I stand there, and there's one right there by my foot, that brought from Human Road. But it's a nationwide problem. I mean, you got beavers here in city canals. I mean, it's just, it didn't start overnight, and we ain't gonna be able to fix it overnight.
Okay, so you think increasing the budget and then maybe paying a little bit more to the travelers may help kind of?
For the tail, that would maybe give us a start and get some more interest into it. Because your large landowners that have these beaver problems, they're free to go out there and do all the shooting they want to on their land. I mean, cause they can go out there to beaver houses and shoot beavers all night long with flashlights. And the DNR won't say a word. Because James mentioned a while ago, when you start sitting on the right of way and shoot down that road, then you got liability issues that's against the law and everything.
That's right. Now, are you gonna be checking the trapper's license, or somebody, how we gonna do
Well,
that?
Gary's already set up with us. We would have to, before they start selling beaver hides, you know, or beaver tails, paying the bounty, they would have to show us a copy of their license and get their W-9 and all that on file here with Beverly or Sheriff.
Okay,
I think it'd be a good start.
yes, sir. I do too.
Okay,
So what, are we gonna increase it and move it to the agenda?
Yes, sir.
What number?
carry it over.
I think we'll probably talk about it in the 10-minute
Okay.
intersession.
Thank you.
Okay, carry it over.
Thank you, Mr. Thread.
Thank you. All right. Anything else on it? I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, we're gonna adjourn for what? How long is it gonna take? 20 minutes?
7 public hearings first.
Yeah, but you gonna join,
How long you wanna adjourn?
how long?
I'm
10 minutes?
okay with going ahead and doing the public hearings and then doing adjournment if you want to, if that's
We
suitable
already
to everybody
got
else.
one go on into the
Let's
public
go
hearing.
straight into
Okay,
those,
let's,
then I'll know what to add to.
all right.
Let's go for it.
We're not gonna adjourn, then we're gonna move on. Okay,
To the public speaker.
this is a public hearing of amend Ware County zoning resolution 706-3, Monday, April the 14th. Okay. This is a request to consider amending the Ware County zoning resolution text by amending section 706, adding subsection C,
You don't wanna add the.
cryptocurrency mining and data mining, and adding subsection D, solar farm use in the GI, General Industrial District. Okay? John, come and talk to us about it.
Yes, sir. So essentially, this is sort of a two-part thing. In the proposed text that we have below for it, it basically defines cryptocurrency and solar farms as activities that are a permitted use a conditional use in GI, General Industrial. So the portion regarding cryptocurrency, it says it's got two parts in it. The first part is actually going to be something that's one of the following text amendments. It's going to be a couple further down.
Yeah.
And that's going to be adding section 617. The second part of it is meeting the requirements of the crypto mining, cryptocurrency and data mining ordinance. And the other is just solar farms, again, saying that it's following the requirements of the Ware County Solar Ordinance. So that's the gist of it. So that's defining the use for GI.
Okay. This needs to be done. You say it needs to be done. Anybody?
We need to define locations that are appropriate for those, if nothing else.
Right. Okay. Any more on it?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just the intent of this public hearing is anytime you've got, under the Zoning Procedures Act, if you are, affecting a zoning decision as defined under that act, you have to have a public hearing in order, to give the, community the, option or, possibility to give any feedback on that change. And so that's why this specific provision, the portion of both the cryptocurrency, data mining, and the solar farm ordinance that was discussed at the work session, that's why it's on this public hearing for that purpose.
Okay. All right, have anything else?
So we'll just need to give the public, if anyone wishes to speak, either in favor of, and then certainly, or against.
Is there any more in favor of it?
So let's start, I think let's start with cryptocurrency first, and then
Okay.
have
Yeah,
the
you gotta
option
run
to
it
anybody
together.
speak.
You gonna be able to run them together like that?
Well, we're
But
having a
after-
public hearing on both issues, but we'll consider the issues separately. So let's do cryptocurrency first.
Okay. Do we have anything, anybody else that's for the cryptocurrency mining and,
Data mining operations.
all right, we got anybody that's against it? Anybody that's, opposes it? One, you oppose it?
Yes, sir.
Would you come up, please?
Because they're
Tell us who you are.
Need to come up,
easy to hack.
need to come up.
Would you come up, please, and tell us who you, give us your name and all?
I've got a lot of time. David Johnson. I live out in Waresboro. Got a lot of time to watch TV. I don't know cryptocurrency. This is all brand new data mining and all the rest of this stuff, but it's easy to hack. And there's a lot of teenagers out there that are very, very smart, and they will hack it. Once you get the money value in there, they'll hack those coins. So you got to look at that. Right now, you've got pretty good handle on what a dollar bill will buy, plus your mortgage is all written around a dollar bill. When they change it to not the dollar bill to cryptocurrency, paying with it, that mortgage is null and void. You get a free house. You don't have to pay mortgage anymore, because it's written in the contract. You gotta pay with money, cash. And on the cash it says, "In God we trust." These notes are all legal tenders in the United States. I don't know why we're gonna go to cryptocurrency, but you better have a really big computer system
Yeah.
protect your investment. And these people that's sitting over in Russia, Iran, and in the, offshore, they'd like nothing better than take your money from you. I've already been a victim of it. So,
I don't,
just to put that in the back of your mind.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, is there any more against it? Anybody else that,
And Mr. Chairman, just for our minutes to reflect, it sounds like what Mr. Johnson's articulating is that he's against cryptocurrency in general, not specifically against, your intent to try to restrict, and zone, where cryptocurrency would occur if we have no applications at the time. I just want everybody we're trying to, again, get ahead of it.
yeah. So,
we have no applications as of now for it to be in Ware County. What the purpose of the ordinance is to get ahead in planning for it if we ever were to get an application. And so, but Mr. Johnson's points, I think, are well made to the commission that he's against it in general.
right, he's against putting it in. Okay.
Anything else on crypto?
Any more? Are you against, how about the solar? Don't-
Well, solar's good until the first time you get a hailstorm out here. We've
Yeah.
had hailstorms before, or a high wind blowing
Or,
stuff down.
or trees,
You're gonna have to cut down a whole bunch of trees just to keep it away from your solar panels.
yeah,
So what happens, you're cutting out something that makes oxygen for you. Even though we get 90% of our oxygen from the ocean, we still need our trees. And you cut down the trees, and then you poison the ground so the grass don't grow. So all you have out there is just a sun farm, and you kill off the animals, everything else.
Mr. Chairman, I present this next.
yeah, go ahead, Chip.
But I believe, again, as our attorney was stating, this isn't about whether we're promoting cryptocurrency or promoting solar farms. This is about if someone come and asks us for a permit to build a solar farm or to put in a mining operation, that this is the steps that you got to go by in order to do that, right?
These amendments in the GI is a conditional use, and this amendment basically gives the citizens a chance to speak their opinion
Right.
before one is located, and then the commission has to vote on approve it.
Right.
Basically, that's all it is, ain't it?
But yeah,
Okay.
so this isn't
Me-
saying that we think cryptocurrency is great,
No.
or we think solar farms are great. This just says that we're just making some rules about how they are to be if someone decides they want to pursue putting those in Ware County. These are just the rules that we got to go by in order to get those things done.
Because,
Well said.
Mr. Chairman, because as I said earlier, one of the things that a community not far from us faced is that they didn't have these types of things in place. And now they're lawyering up over there and going to court and all this kind of stuff because they didn't have them. So we're trying to be proactive and have something in place and say, okay, if you're gonna have a cryptocurrency mining operation or a solar farm, these are the rules, these are what you're gonna have to go by. And that still doesn't guarantee that you're gonna get it, but this is what the format is.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You okay with that, Mr. Johnson? Yes, sir. What this is they gonna have to come through the zoning to get the permit, anything that happens. If I'm,
Let's go through the commission.
yeah, if it's approved. Okay? Okay, we got the one on the public, that was on cryptocurrency. All right, now the next one is amend the 707-5. Wait.
Mr. Chairman, I'll
You-
clarify this if you want me to. So this is to amend section 707.5, which is the A agricultural district.
Yeah.
And what we're proposing is to amend that district by adding 707.5 conditional uses, subsection B 1, 2, and C, which B would be cryptocurrency mining and data mining operations, and C would be the solar farms. And basically what this does is it says that before somebody can establish a solar farm or a cryptocurrency data mining establishment, they will have to apply before the planning commission, and the planning commission will give a recommendation, and then based on that recommendation, it will come before the county commission as a public hearing in that district because it's a conditional use. So what that does is essentially it will give the people, the citizens that live in that area, a chance to voice their concern or their opposition or their favor for that development. So it's just like, just to give you an example, it's just like the transfer station that the commission had last month or the month before, a couple months ago. It's that same process. Going through that process.
Okay. Y'all understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, to amend the Ware County zoning resolution for Article 3, Section 3.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on,
That's the same one.
does anybody in the audience have any opposition or in favor? Chance to speak for that last one? Just for
mining
formalities.
or
18.
For data mining or solar farm in the A zoning district. Is anyone for it or anyone against it?
anybody like to come talk to us?
Anybody for it? Anybody against it?
Okay.
Come on, Ms. Deborah, I see you shaking your head.
Okay. All right, public hearing to amend the Ware County zoning resolution article.
Hold on, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody,
Oh, okay. Excuse me, Miss Giddens. I didn't see. Go ahead.
Deborah Giddens, 4985 Douglas Highway, Millwood, Georgia. I'm not really in favor of the cryptocurrency mining because I'm not as knowledgeable as I'd like to be in coming before you, but I do have a question. So what the cryptocurrency mining, what type of situation is there out in wherever the land is? And I'm really not for it being on an agricultural district or land, especially if there's livestock there. I have heard that this mining causes adverse effect on livestock. So is that the case?
Yeah.
Because it's very noisy and it causes adverse effect on livestock. So that would be a concern of mine. So my question is, do you,
I've heard that too.
Mr.
You
Chair.
know, I think that's what we're
so my
trying to do.
question
Miss
is,
Giddens.
would it be good for agricultural areas, especially those that have livestock?
Commissioner Tender has something.
And see, that's what we're trying to get to. Mr. Tindall, go ahead.
So, and just so, again, we're clear on this, my understanding is that this isn't saying that if anybody comes in and puts an application in and it's on an agricultural land, that they're automatically approved. It still has to go through the planning commission, still has to come through this board to get approval, and we'll have a hearing, just like we have here, to where there'll be opportunity for people to speak for it or against it, and then we make the decision individually based on those situations. And so, you know, if somebody tries to come in and put one next door to your house, and you and your neighbors, y'all to get together, come up here and say, no, we don't want it, then, you know, chances are we're probably gonna say no to it. And so this just gives it's just saying, these are the areas that it is allowed to put it in there. We're not gonna put it in a residential, you know, in an R rating, so it can be put next to people's houses and stuff. We're just saying that if it is allowed, it's allowed in agricultural areas. So it's not just an overall blanket saying that we agree that it's gonna go anywhere you want it as long as it's agricultural. We're just saying those are the areas that it would be permissible for it to go.
See, without this, so they could have came in right now and do it without this resolution, am I right about that? They could come in now and put one in without asking anybody. But with this, they can't without coming to the planning commission and, coming before the commission.
Well, they would have to have a permit, wouldn't they?
Well, they'd have to have a permit.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be as easy as them just because we don't have it, they can come in, but this makes it harder. And we got rules and regulation in place if they did get a permit and all to come in and do it.
It doesn't make it harder, it just makes it gives the community an opportunity to voice their opinion, either for or against it, everyone that is constructed, just like a lot of landfills are done like this. Any use that could have a potentially adverse impact on the neighborhood or the citizens that surrounds it, you know, we try to make it where that neighborhood or those citizens have a chance to comment, versus allowing them outright as a permitted use. So like in the R90 district, which is a residential district, you can just go build your house. Well, we didn't want you just to be able to go build a solar farm in the GI and also in the A district. We wanted to be placed where the citizens have a chance to comment either way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Deborah, as far as the messing with the animals part, I can't speak for the solar aspect of it, but as far as the crypto mining part of it, those crypto mining facilities, say you build one the size of this room, they have to stay at 60 degrees or below. Okay, so they have air conditioning units on them. So those are insulated buildings, they got sealed doors on them, and most of the buildings are gonna be built with the metal frame, you know, the red iron, the metal frame, and then there's gonna be insulation in the walls, probably sprayed insulation. So you're not gonna hear the noise, you're gonna hear AC noise, but you're not gonna hear the noise coming from the machines. So it's gonna be in a completely enclosed, encapsulated, if you will, highly,
The fans on the building, that's your noise.
It's, because keeping that temperature below 60 degrees is the real fight on those people. It's not keeping these machines up, because if it goes above 60, the machines shut themselves down. Because they're all what they call water cooled, which is not water, it's another liquid, but they call it water cooled. And you're talking about people investing hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to get one Bitcoin takes 18 months of mining. So you're talking about a company coming in here and they might invest $1.5 million, and they're gonna wait 18 months to get one coin. I mean, that's literally, go look it up, you'll see it. It's between 14 and 18 months to get one Bitcoin. And then they've got to disperse it between the other people that help them mine it.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to voice my concern
Yes, ma'am.
and my question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deborah.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. I've been around with them, they make a lot of racket.
That's an AC here. They didn't insulate
Hey,
it.
home. I
If
know
I
where
did,
it goes.
if I did, we'll use the whole insulator out.
Okay. We need to go through this, on Article 4 by adding section 616 setback requirement. We got to have the.
Mr. Chairman, I think you may have skipped one, which was the, text amendment for adding, by amending section 302.1B, which is basically just adding some definitions for cryptocurrency and related digital activities.
Related digital activities.
Yes, sir.
That one?
So,
Okay,
Third one.
so if you look at section
missed it.
302, you
okay.
got 302.10B, which is the cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah, Article
And then,
3.
and then you've got 4 sub definitions that you're, building off that. Or 6, I'm sorry.
Okay, anybody support that thing? Anybody opposes it? Okay. We can vote on all of them at one time,
You have to vote on it individually.
individually?
Yeah, if you like, I'll read them out if you want me to.
All right, let's
once we
go
get
on
there.
forward then.
So the next item is, Ware County Zone Resolution amending, text section 617. I think in your agenda it says 616, but it's actually 617.
17.
And basically what that does is that just develops some special setbacks for a cryptocurrency mining and data mining operations, and that, setback is, 1,000 feet from any residential structure. And then it
Okay.
gives you some ways to measure that distance.
All right. Anybody oppose it? Support it? Any oppose it? Opposition? Okay. Got one more. Amend the Ware County zoning resolution section 708 -B2, permitted uses.
Mr. Chairman, this just basically, eliminates the words not, or as the words not including requirements of 302.13.3E, which is basically, in the CDD zoning district. This will allow a single wide to go in that district. Right now, it has to be at least a double wide, and this will take the Class A requirement out of that and allow any residential use.
Okay, this is gonna take that out so you can you can put instead of a double wide, you can put a single wide.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody support that? Any opposition against it?
I got one question.
What
for the
section
manager.
of town where is that at?
Now, is this gonna be for all
All of the county
of
or?
all of Benton County?
No, the CDD runs along your major highways, so it runs along 82, where it's not zoned, and or it was where it wasn't zoned at the time. And so, for example, and I'm just going rough areas, from the Satilla Square, from about the city limits line out on Brunswick Highway out to the county line, you have CDD 600 feet from the center line of the road, extending both ways, except where it goes into Brantley. So it's there, and then on US 84, no, US 84, yes, and then also US 1 north and south, you have some CDD, which stands for Corridor Development District, and that district is intended to allow all uses that's permitted in the zoning ordinance, just as a blanket, so you can allow all those along the major route. What it does require, it requires special setbacks for residential development of 75 feet versus your regular 35 or 40 foot setback. So, and right now the way it's written is you can only put a Class A, which is a double wide brick and block skirting and meter based mounted on the side. Well, what we're proposing is just allow any use, because that's what it was intended for, any use, and just have that special setback still, which is 75 feet. So basically, we're increasing what can go into the CDD.
But a thing like this, Mr. Manager, isn't gonna affect like what Mr. Scott did out on, right before Brantley County line on the outskirts of Ware County.
No,
it's not gonna affect nothing like that.
No,
That-
because
that's what-
he's outside the CDD.
Okay,
Right, essentially what it does is expand the use allowed by one, which is a, single wide manufactured home. Or by that matter, it actually expands it by two, which is a single wide manufactured home or either a double wide manufactured home that doesn't have brick or block skirting or meter base mounted on the side.
Okay. Okay, anybody support it? Any more support? Any oppose it? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the last
Now, this
amendment you
is
have.
Okay, this is the last one.
Yes, sir, that's the amendment to the R90 zoning district. And what we're proposing there is that the current setback is 35 feet, whether you have septic tank, sewer, or water. What we're proposing is that where there is public sewer and public water, we reduce that setback to 35 feet. To 25 feet, I'm sorry. And that will meet the same requirements as the R75 and the R50 districts. And what we found what we're running into is some areas that are zoned R90 and where sewer and water is. When they do their minimum lot size, they're having a problem getting the, say a 2,000 square foot structure on that. So we would actually reduce that back setback to, 25 feet, which allow them to set back a little further.
Okay.
So
25 from the center line or 25 from the?
25 from the rear property line.
From the rear property line and.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, all in the city, you know, cause we got all of this water and sewer, so they have the, 25 foot.
Yes, and we made those amendments several years ago when sewer became available in the county to the R75 and the R50 districts. But, you know, we never made them to the R90, and I think that, you know, as development increases, we've got to quit using up so much land.
Okay.
For developments, for homes.
All right. Is that all?
That's it.
Anybody support it? Any oppose it? Okay. Move that over. Got one more.
Is there one more?
I think that's it.
Oh, that's it. No, that was a setback.
That was a setback from 35 to 25.
Okay. Is there another one?
I did that one.
No.
No, that's it.
A regular meeting, okay.
I did
We're
that
through
one.
with the, thing, that's,
I did that one too.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. We'll come back in 10 minutes. How much you need? 10 minutes enough?
6 o'clock.
Come back, 10 minutes, start back. 6 o'clock.
That's 16 minutes.
16 minutes.